Good Monday morning, everybody. It is October 21st. It's your buddy Choppadon coming at you with a morning skate version DFS NHL. We're going to fly through this short 4-game slate, give you the best of the best, and come back for the rest. So let's actually go out to Twitter, show you the social media page where you should be following me out on Twitter at Choppadong if you can. Like and subscribe to the YouTube video down below. Consider becoming a VIP for DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for everything daily fantasy sports. Of course, top to bottom. Basketball kicks off tomorrow, or I should say tips off tomorrow. Football came off of another great week for a lot of guys inside DFS Army. And we're just going to rock and roll with NASCAR and golf and hockey and everything all year long. You get one price. One price. Should make that very, very clear. One price. We don't nickel and dime you for each individual sport and charge you a buttload and take from your bankroll. We'd rather keep that bankroll in your pocket and show you how to win with it. We do that with coaching cheat sheets across the slate, which actually leverage an awful lot of the time that pros spend researching and then pass that along to you, the busy 9-to-5er or whatever that comes home and only has an hour to put together some lineups. We've done that heavy lifting for you during the day. We've done some podcasts for you during the day. You come on in, you sit down, you catch a little bit of this and that, and you put your own thoughts and your own twists on it. Boom, you're right in there competing with the Sharks. It's very, very simple. And the coupon code CHOP earns a 20% off discount each and every month you remain a member. So I would strongly encourage you to come inside. You'll find that down there in the comment section of the YouTube video. But without further ado, let's dive in and show you some of the winning. This is a $23 win, which I know doesn't sound like a lot to you, but it might be a lot to him. $275 win sounds a little bit better. First and second place today. Thanks for the Army. Showdown notes are awesome. Winning over on Fantasy Draft, 50 in, 570 out. Videos and notes. Thank you. MME, from MME to SE to 3 max to 20 max. All in play. Another one describing his quarter free ticket that turned into a few bucks. 422 out. Money here. Of course, 459 out, 150 into 450. That's a nice little triple up. $80 into $1,700 if you can't see that. I'll even blow it up for you. $1,783. Pretty strong number there. Looking up a lot of MME type stuff. What I tend to do right now is I'm focusing on 20 max, but I'm cheating a little bit personally. I'm one of those guys that is using 20 maxes like MMEs and trying to get to 40, 60, 80, 100 lineups. And use 3 and 4 and 5 contests like that, because that way I can run across and practice my building on the very, very cheap. Because you're not going to hit the ground running with full bankroll and that's the fastest way to burn through a bankroll. What you should be doing is learning on the cheap, experimenting on the cheap, and then ramping up as you get your feet underneath you. And I'm still going to get my feet under me. I'm not an MME guy. I'm typically a ladder guy, single lineup, 1, 2, 3 lineups. Throw them in a bunch of different contests from 50-50s to triple ups to 100-man leagues and whatnot, and then just stomp the competition that way. But to be honest with you, I'm trying to learn a little bit different way, because I truly, truly, truly believe that throwing 100 to 150 lineups out there at a time, if you know what you're doing, is as stable as cash games. And it's got a lot more upside to win when you really hit that monster lineup and do a lot of damage with it. So that's where I'm gravitating my game. Doesn't mean that cash games suck. I'm still going to be controlling a lot of cash games. I'll typically put, $20 in play a night, 10 in cash and 10 in tournaments or something like that right now. And in hockey, I tend to really do the 50-50 split. I'm not an 80-20 guy in hockey where I'm 80% cash, 20% GPPs. I'm more 50. Hockey's a GPP sport. With being an event-based sport, as much as it is weighted toward goals and assists, then once you pile a few of those into the same lineup, you really rocket up a leaderboard, especially if you're correlated with some stacking. And those are the things that we talk about with our VIPs inside DFSArmy.com all the time. So that would be something that I would recommend considering, is if you want that type of education. I'm back testing right now, and I'm doing a lot of studying in GPPs. I'm starting to formulate some bullet points where I'm going to start sharing with our VPPs, our our VIPs, things like stacking formations, and what trends are typically paying the big dogs in the industry right now, and are they stacking in cash, or what are they focused on? Is it lower ownership in GPPs? And while everyone talks about lower ownership, what I'm finding is the ownership is so spread out in hockey, it doesn't really freaking matter. On short slates it matters. The shorter the slate, the more it matters. But on bigger slates, 6, 8, 10 games, and no, ownership doesn't matter really at all, because there are so many viable options. If you were to put together a core of players, you can't tell me Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, and another 5 or 10 guys. You can't tell me that they're not all cash viable on any given slate, because they are. It's a matter of who's going to do the actual damage that night. And so if I'm picking, say, oh, I can only afford, say, 2 of those guys among 10 or 12 very viable picks, then the slate's wide damn open. It's like rostering a bunch of quarterbacks in football. So everybody chooses this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and it balances out and spreads out. So ownership never really becomes a problem, even in GPPs. So if you want to fade the chalk, you're fading like an 18% owned guy. That's not going to get you a lot of leverage. Just pick the right guy. That'd be my first tip. The second tip would be more about how to structure these things. That's what I'm going to talk about inside the channel here, coming up here over the next couple of weeks inside our VIP rooms. But if you were to focus on today's slate, I'd be looking at matchup score, which is goals for added to the opponent's goals against. So very, very simply stated, we take the highest one on the board, Colorado. Why? Why is Colorado 83? Why are they so high? Because Colorado is scoring 4.2 goals per game right now over a shorter sample of about 5 games, scoring 4.2 on the average, and St. Louis is allowing 4.1. So 42 and 41 adds up to 83. So you've got the secret to my magic. But that's the highest number on the slate. What you have is an offense that is scoring goals, facing a defense that is giving them up. You can't tell me that's not logical as hell. And that now, can things flip-flop? Can Colorado come out flat? Yes. Can St. Louis decide to get back to their grinding style and slow the game down? Yes. Can Jordan Binnington stand on his head and pitch a shutout? Yes. All these things can happen. Are they going to? I don't know. What I do know right now is that the trend is showing that St. Louis is out of sorts and can be picked on. I don't think we'll be saying that in late November. But I do think that we'll be saying that for the next couple of games until they start to show us that they're starting to turn things around. And to do that, we're going to have to get burned a couple of times. But Colorado would be a team that I would be looking towards. Vegas would be a team I'd be looking towards because Vegas is scoring 3.1 goals right now and Philadelphia is giving up 3.7. That, again, leads to a pretty decent scoring environment for Vegas if the trends continue one more day. Toronto's down the list a little bit. You can see them down here in this little glom of teams. Toronto at a 62. Columbus at a 58. St. Louis at a 57. Not very good scores. Okay? But better than Dallas, Ottawa, and Philly. Philly right now is only scoring 1.7 goals per game. Vegas, on the other hand, is playing pretty decent defense at 2.5 goals against. So if I take 1.7 and add it to 2.5, I get 4.2 or 42. And what I'm looking at is a putrid offense facing a good defense. That's not a good environment for scoring. I don't care what anybody says. If that trend continues, it should transpire into a Vegas win and Philly having some trouble again. Now, could it flip on its head? Yes. Philly, I'm telling you, leads or the third in the league right now in the last 5 or 6 games in shots again or shots on goal. Philly's shooting a ton. Those top 2 lines are riddled with shots on goal. They're trying. I didn't look at scoring chances or high danger chances, but I'm telling you, they're trying and they're going to break through. And this will break, the dam will break and the avalanche will happen and Philly will go on a run where they score just a crap load of goals for like a week. Hopefully it starts soon. Hopefully it doesn't start tonight when I'm on Vegas. And most likely the Vegas goalie. If I look at the implied team totals, that's another number to look at. Vegas puts a lot of resources into this game. It's a factor of money line and over-under on the night, of course, just like point spread in football. The bigger the demolition is supposed to be, the better the money line, the more favored a team is, the more goals of that 5.5, 6, 6.5 game total they're going to get. They're going to be implied to score. I don't believe it all the time, and here's where I wouldn't believe it. Dallas. Dallas is averaging 1.8 goals for over the last 5 games. Now, another disclaimer, could they break out of it tonight? Yes, they've got talented skaters, don't get me wrong. But right now, no. Under 2 goals a game? Are you kidding me? It's not like Ottawa's offense is terrible, or defense is terrible. Ottawa's defense is only allowing 3.3 goals against. It's not like the 4.1 of St. Louis. Ottawa's not a good defense, but they're playing okay defense right now. So when you've got a bad offense going up against an okay defense, it's, again, not some sign of a shootout. And at 1.8 goals for on the average for Dallas, And an implied total out of Vegas at 3.6 today, I don't see it. I might wind up wrong, but I don't see it based on the information we have at hand. And I don't think that it's smart to go chasing it off, except maybe taking a pair in a cash game situation. A Sagan Radulov or Sagan, and one of these defensemen, Klingberg, Hiskinen, whatever. I can see that. You're banking on Vegas putting the resources, the time, and the money into this and being correct. I'm telling you, this is the kind of day where Vegas might be wrong. Now, I'd probably have a couple of these guys in cash too, because I do trust Vegas. I trust Vegas a lot. I trust my own matchup scoring my own eyes, though, too. And so it raises questions. I wouldn't stack them. I watched the guy last night stack Minnesota. 5 Minnesota skaters in cash, mind you. And I marked his name down so I can target him the rest of the year, because if he's willing to do something that stupid, I want to be in his games all day long, all year long, because he will leak more money than he makes. He'll get lucky sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Got lucky last night, kicked my ass. But he's going to lose far more than he wins. If he's stacking 5 skaters from a team like Minnesota that is struggling to score like they were on that slate compared to the other teams, there were many better options. Washington, Chicago. There were better options. He didn't see them. He decided to go with his heart. And if you want to go with your heart and cash, you're just gonna light money on fire. Go with your heart and GPPs. So if we were doing GPP stacks, I'd be focused on Colorado, Vegas, probably Vegas too, because Vegas is on the road. I like 2s on the road, and I like 1s at home. Although Colorado is so concentrated in their scoring on their top line that their 1 is viable anywhere. Dallas is at home, so I would take the 1. These are the defensemen that are viable. There's other defensemen that are viable. Theodore, Eric Johnson, believe it or not, isn't serving power play time, but he's the best producing defenseman in Colorado right now. If I was playing, these are my more safe plays, my chalkier plays, if you will. Although we just demolished ownership a little bit ago, you don't need to worry about it that much. This would be my contrarian play. I would bank on Philly. They're getting too much shot volume to stay suppressed for too long. And tonight, if I was running the Vegas goalie in cash, I'd run Philly out there in tournaments. I would just play ping pong with myself. The goalie shot against average, or goalie shot against plus is telling me, it's a new number that I'm finding, because the shots against bonus on DraftKings puts a lot of points back into your pocket. It's rewarding. That scoring system right now is rewarding. The win is still very, very valuable, but wins are elusive. You can chase Dallas in the minus 225, and I'm telling you, if Dallas only scores 1.8 goals against, and Dallas only scores 1 goal, which is very, very likely to happen, or very, very has the potential of happening, and somehow Ottawa gets 2 on them, then Dallas loses 2-1, and as a minus 225 favorite, it's trash, and your cash goalie busts. I would prefer to find a favored goalie in line to take a lot of shots, and right now Philly's shooting the crap out of the puck. Vegas is going to see shots against. Vegas is also allowing shots against, believe it or not. So that's like a double green light. You got a team shooting a ton and a team allowing shots. But Vegas is favored to win. So Fleury might be my goalie tonight. Cash games, GPPs, any of it. Because that shot volume is like strikeout percentage in baseball. It's your floor. And if he can get to 35 shots against, which he can, they're allowing like 37 or something. If he gets to 35, then all of a sudden he triggers the 3-point bonus on top of it all, and that's half the win right there. If he gets the win and sees 35 shots, that's like 9 free points when you're only trying to score, 80 to 100 in cash? It's almost 10% of your scoring is a bonus. That's a big, big bonus. Shot volume on DraftKings is pretty important this year. Colorado would be another one. Not seeing they are allowing a lot of shots. St. Louis isn't shooting a ton, but they are allowing a lot of shots. So that gives St. Louis a boost to put more pucks on net if St. Louis decides that's what they want to do tonight, is go to try and beat Carolina and shoot the crap out of the puck. Now, as a wrap, I would tell you to start looking at teams like Colorado and Vegas. I would also look at their goalies. Colorado's maybe a little bit more contrarian, but you can't argue that Colorado 1 is always in play. I think they're set up to do a lot of damage tonight based on matchup score. Toronto, Columbus, St. Louis, all in play. Philadelphia would be my contrarian play. If I was playing tournament lineups, I would look for somebody who's favored, implied to score over 3.4 goals. And I would combine that with matchup score, so I'd be really pretty high on Vegas tonight. I'd go dip into Vegas and see who's doing the scoring. The 2 is doing more scoring than the 1. Colorado, the 1's doing more than the 2. In Dallas, if it's coming out of anywhere, it's going to come off those top 2 lines with these defensemen being heavily involved. So Dallas 1, Dallas 2, either one. Philadelphia would be my contrarian play tonight. I'd stack up the 1. That said, in cash games, I would keep it down to pairs. I wouldn't run more than pairs. And formation-wise, I'll tell my VIPs the formations that I would use. So if you guys are considering becoming a VIP at all, you might want to jump inside. Get ready for NBA tomorrow. Week 8 of NFL. You believe NFL is almost half over? Week 8 of NFL starts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. And we're going to be running the same PGA, NASCAR, MMA type content all the time at dfsarmy.com. So trigger that coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, trigger that 20% off discount. Like and subscribe the video down below. Share me on social media. We keep these videos down to about 15 minutes as often as we can. Hopefully you got a lot of content in there today instead of just, here's the slate, what are you going to do with it? You got a little bit of talking about these games, where my mind is, where my mind would go. Hopefully if I have any changes in thoughts, I'll put them into our coaching forums a little bit later on today. You've got a coaching cheat sheet coming out from a completely different mind in either MDL or R. Flynn. So hopefully you take advantage of that as well. Come on inside, guys. Water's never been warmer. DFSArmy.com. I'm your buddy Chopping On, and I'm out for Monday. See ya.